So you enjoyed the conversation there, even though I stopped the recording. So we continue. I'm so accustomed for 3 months now to speak in silence, no people around. So I got used to it now. Little bit disturbance also. It's like, oh, the silence is gone. Again, I have to get used to people now. That's why I started from here. Ah. So, those sages, they know that there is only one truth, and that truth is one without a second, and that is divine. And if we are talking about categories, if we are talking about variety, diversity, multiplicity, that multiplicity is not available in the truth. Just like when we go to sleep at night, there is no multiplicity available to us. And there we are going out of ignorance. So imagine that you are in a state, you are with yourself, you are in the deep sleep state where where there is no multiplicity of thoughts, experiences, and you are awake. See, that is the truth, that is the divine. So from where has this manifestation of the multiplicity and diversity and unmanifestation of multiplicity and diversity, is it happening in the truth? Is it happening in the truth? Because from one standpoint, other than truth, there is nothing. You see, other than truth, there is nothing. So, whatever is happening is in the truth. Apart from water, there is nothing. Everything called the ocean and wave is happening or not happening in the water only. But the question is, you are seeing the water and the ocean and the wave. Really speaking, you are seeing only the essence. And what is the essence? The water. Then what is ocean? Only a name. What is a wave? Only a name. So why are we giving this name to the water? Because it's useful. I think this point I told last week also, that all the diversity is useful. Names and forms are useful. So from where have these names and forms come about? Where has this multiplicity in that one, all pervading principle come about from? So there they say it has not come from somewhere outside. If everything is the divine alone, that one alone, the potency of that one alone is expressing as the multiplicity. See, the potency, the potential within the water alone is expressing as the ocean and the wave, and sometimes it becomes unmanifest. The potential in the one truth, the self that I am, the potential within the one principle that I am, from that potential expresses. How does it express? It expresses as waker, dreamer, sleeper. The one man that I am, out of this man, because there is a potential in this man, the potential expresses as the son, the father, the brother, the husband, because that potential is there. If man is not there, you cannot have the father, the son, and the husband. So basic is necessary. Just like water is the basis of all expression or non-expression, man is the basis of all expression or non-expression. Similarly, the truth is the basis, the Atma is the basis for all the expression or non-expression of the variety or diversity. Now, once we have understood and not understood, you can't understand Maya, but once you have accepted this premise that the potentiality, the potential is of the potential. The ability is within that one truth to express. So now, once we accept that, now we come to second conclusion. What is that? In spite of the changes of manifestation or non-manifestation, the truth does not change. If husband, brother, son, father, these roles are changing, man does not change. Exactly the same way, waves change but the water does not change. Water is water. Same way, because of the appearance and disappearance of variety, the truth, the divine does not change. The spirit does not change. Understand this. This is the basic premise. So now we can work on it. So some saints and sages, they understood this potentiality within us, from where the multiplicity expresses, is the mind. So consciousness with potentiality or with name and form is called mind. See, another word, man with respect to wife is called husband. Husband is nowhere. He's a what you call? He's a ghost. So you are all ghosts and ghosties if you are all married. So same way, mind is also a ghost. Mind is not a reality. Self is reality. Mind, you cannot have two realities. So all the multiplicity is happening in the potentiality. So either you take it as Maya at the totality level or mind at the individual level. And now, when they were looking at their mind and praying to, sitting in meditation, these saints and sages, whatever the Lord wanted, whatever the divine wanted, it got revealed to them. And for someone it revealed that it was that the world is Trigunatmika, it is three, made up of three. For some it revealed as it was 5, for some it was 7, for some it was 9, for some it was 11. And this way, all the different categories, depending upon how deep you went into that Maya in search of it. And according to that, the reality or the diversity was revealed to them, the secret of it. So we are not going to indulge in the into all the various numbers that were given. And towards the last, yesterday I was telling you, last class, that in the 18th verse he said, what did he say? Vyaktyaadayo vakurvana dhatava purushekshaya labdhavirya srujatyandam samhata prakruter balat. He said, energized by a glance from the Purusha and united with one another, fundamental principles like Mahat Tattva, which enter into the constitution of the universe, undergoing transformation, bring forth the cosmic egg with the help of Prakriti, their source. Nothing in this life, nothing in this creation can function without the intelligent principle. Intelligent principle is not the thought. Normally we think, because I am asking questions, all parents say, children are asking questions, even they are ignorant and foolish, they think children are intelligent. It is stupid. Asking questions is stupid. It is ignorance only. Ignorant people ask questions. Then what is knowledge? Knowledge is the self. Knowledge is of the nature of divine. Knowledge is of the nature of divine. See? And to understand that knowledge which is of the nature of divine, just like that divine, when it leaves the body goes, which is made up of space, air, fire, water, earth, every aspect of the body, these 5 elements, they go back to the total space. The air goes back to the total airs, the fire goes back to the total fire, the what do you call, the water goes back to the total waters, and the skin, blood, etc., all that goes back to the earth. But what was holding it together? What was the binding agent? Good. See, that is why we see in Lord Shiva's life, Parvati. Parvati is the Shakti. Parvati is the wife of Lord Shiva, is the Parvati, Gauri. And she wanted someone to protect her privacy when she is taking bath, wherein the Lord could barge in any time he wanted, because it is his wife. And one day she was taking bath with her friends Jaya and Vijaya, and he came in and he saw the how ashamed her friends were feeling. So when Lord Shiva apologized and went away, Gauri, Mother Parvati, decided, and she told Nandi. Nandi is the servant of, or the devotee of Lord Shiva. He serves Mother Parvati because she is his wife. But so she asked him, why did you not stop Lord Shiva from entering? Did I not tell you that don't allow anyone inside? He says, he is my Lord. If he says something, I can't say anything. So now Parvati thought, I need some security guard of my own. So immediately from the dust from her skin, she collected the dirt, and from that she made Ganesha and infused life into that statue, and gave him the powers, and told him that you take care, you protect while the door while I am taking bath inside with my friends. And as usual, Lord Shiva, he comes, and there is a fight, because Ganesha says, I don't know who you are, I only know my mother. He says, no, I am your father. And I had never come to know that I got a son called called Ganesha. I have got only one son, and one daughter, which was Kartikeya, and that other, I don't know the name of the daughter. So he says, I don't care whether you know or you don't know. I am my mother's son, and I have been given a job to not allow anyone to enter into her bathing chambers. And he said, kid, you are small, you don't know whom you are speaking to. He says, whoever you may be, I don't care. My mother's word is my command. So he said, but he was arrogant also. Who? Ganesha. So he says, only after killing me you can go in. So after some fight where he had defeated the Nandi, defeated all the army of Lord Shiva, when Shiva himself comes and he argues and he is not ready to give way, Lord Shiva sends the trident, the Trishul, and Ganesha's head was severed. Now we think, how can Lord Shiva do this? And eventually Parvati came and said, how can you do this? It was my son, this, that. So Lord Shiva feels bad, and he sends the people, whatever the first head you get, you bring it and we will put it. And they get an elephant's head, and it is put on the body of Ganesha, whose head had been severed. He had a normal face. Because the head was cut, now the elephant face came up. So the meaning behind this story is, now then afterwards Ganesha became, he was intelligent, everything, but now Ganesha remained with the elephant head. Now the question is, why Lord Ganesha, he was not Lord at that time, he became Lord afterwards, but why did Lord Ganesha have to be killed by Lord Shiva? This is the secret. The secret is that Ganesha was made from the dirt from the body of Parvati. Parvati is the Shakti, the potentiality. Just like mind is our potentiality. In us, Self is the knowledge principle, is the potential, the wielder of the potential, and the mind is the potentiality which goes and gets the work done, which expresses as the infinite varieties. So that potentiality, when we see Radha Krishna, or we see Ram Sita, we see Shiva Shakti, that Shakti is the potentiality. Now what has happened? Shakti here in this case, from there are different ways you can understand, but the way we want to understand, and that understanding is that Shakti is inert. Power is always inert. There is only one thing which is conscious. And what is that consciousness? What is the one thing that is consciousness? The truth, the divine. That one divine alone is expressing as Shiva and Shakti. You understand? Just like you alone are expressing through your mind as waker and dreamer. So are these people, are these two? No. Exactly the same way. It is expressing as Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is the knowledge principle, Shakti is the matter principle. And what did this matter do? It created a body out of itself, which is its job, because a mother's body also creates another body when it gives birth. But does the mother create life in that body? Doesn't. Then who creates the life? You need Shiva. So that father also cannot bring, father and mother, because both our bodies are inert. They can only create a matter body. But where does the life come from? That life comes from Shiva, or that is the Shiva principle. So Ganesha, when he was created by Parvati, it was created without the blessings of the conscious principle. He was a robot. In other words, artificial intelligence made by matter, with matter, infused with matter, living as if it is a human being. Big problem. So the Lord Shiva had to kill him. That story has been created, or it's a mythological story. It had to be killed, and then again life was blessed, infused into Ganesha with the new head, and now he has become the a great god after that, till he proved himself that he was worthy of being the greatest one, the obstacle remover. So all those stories are there afterwards. So this is the, so if you understood the story, that matter, take simple example. House is made up of bricks and mortar. But just because there is bricks and mortar, do you call it a house? Or if people are living in it, then you call it a home? Which one do you? Only when people are living, then it becomes a home. Only having building is not equal to home. So who are people? Living. It is life which is making the house a livable space. Exactly. So if this is the house, the body is the house, who is the one who is living in this house of body? That is the conscious principle. That is the self. That is the divine. That is the spirit. See, today our mind, if you take the artificial intelligence and the computers, they work faster than our mind. You know, there are few people who are faster than them, but stupid people like you, me and everyone, for us, you are also stupid, okay? So for us, the computer is working faster than us. Just now, while they had gone to pick mom up, this young fellow and me, we were playing car racing on, what is that thing called? PlayStation. PlayStation 3. And he is expert. He put it on the most difficult circuit on the car racing.
So you could learn
And
the difficult thing.
and he what he's saying, so that I could learn difficult driving first, so that easy one will be very easy. So, you can't imagine how many accidents I had. I couldn't even go straight because it was a fast track. And this fellow, by the time I am not even covered 100 meters, he has already completed the round. And he says, Swamiji, I am starting second round, I am waiting for you, please catch up. See? See? So, now understand. This is we are trying to come to this understanding that matter by itself is not intelligent, it is inert. And when we are talking about these various numbers 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, etc., etc., they are only talking about the various aspects of creation, various aspects, categories of universe. And where is the creation or the universe? In our mind. What is the mind? The potentiality of the self. And potentiality is always inert. This is one way of approach. The other approach is, if one reality alone has become Shiva and Shakti, if one reality alone has become Radha and Krishna, then how can Radha be inert and Krishna be conscious? See? How can, if water alone has become ocean, one ocean and the other ocean, or ocean and wave, then how can ocean be water and wave not be water? Both are water only. So how come, sir, you are saying, I am asking question, it is not, I don't know, I have not read further ahead, I am trying to simplify the whole thing for us. So how come inert, if the reality is expressing in Shiva, then same reality is expressing in Parvati also, Shakti. The same power is expressing in the Ishvara and the same power is expressing in Prakriti. Understand? Yes, we accept, completely accept. Completely accept. But the problem comes after this. And the problem is that when the Shakti is not expressing, when the mind is not expressing, where are you? How do you know yourself right now? How do you know the variety of the universe, the variety of the dreams, the waking dream, deep sleep, and the various roles and the various relationships and the various aspects of the creation? Where do you know it? You know it in the mind, right? When mind is not thinking, where are you? When mind is not thinking, I should say, where is the mind? He says, in every cell of the body. Body is a part, a concept of the mind. Mind is not in the body. This is a wrong conclusion we are living with. So, when there are no thoughts of creation in our mind, where is the mind? Where is the mind?
Mind is all in the self something.
Good, very good. Then mind is not separate from the self. Good. Understand? So, when does the potentiality manifest? Potentiality manifests the moment name and form come about. Understand? For us. Now, this process of manifestation from not being there to being there, it's not happening in the self. It's not happening in the divine. it is happening in the Prakriti. It is only to distract you from your natural state. See?
सहज समाधि क्या होती है स्वामी जी?
Ah?
सहज समाधि क्या होती है?
Samadhi, Sahaja Samadhi is when you don't lose the plot, when the mind is free of thoughts or the mind is full of thoughts. See, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you want to sit in meditation, isn't it? Can you listen to me, look at me in the computer, or listen to the satsang in the computer and be in samadhi? Because if the listener is there, samadhi is not possible. If you recognize listening is going on and I am the independent principle, ears are listening, that's their job. Mind is thinking, it's its job. And who am I? I'm the one who's giving life to the mind and giving life to the senses. So shift your attention to the life principle. Right now, without closing your eyes, you will be in samadhi. So, when is the Prakriti divine? It is always divine, but we will not be able to recognize it. For us to recognize that mind is basically consciousness with thoughts, and the material that has gone into making the thoughts is nothing but divine, for that the mind must be God facing. It must have the blessing of the divine principle. Blessing of the divine principle, grace of the divine principle will only happen when you are thinking about it, when you are facing it, when you are contemplating on it. But when we are running after, when we are desiring it, but when we are desiring the names and forms, when we are thinking, oh, this person is divine, that person is divine, you have got no idea, it's only a mental imagination. You cannot realize the truth as an individual. I am talking about, as an individual, we cannot realize the truth or the divine by looking at the world. Because our mind is looking at the world, and world is full of variety. And we get hijacked this way, that way, this way. Just few minutes ago I got hijacked because the phone came. See? Then the alarm went. See? It's that because we have not trained ourselves, that's why we fall. But when consciously, regularly, abhyas, by regular practice, we have learned, created a habit in the mind to face the divine. We have created a habit in the mind to face the divine. So when we do japa, from outside, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, it goes Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. So what is happening? The mind is coming to face the divine. When we do Kundalini Yoga, from Mooladhara to Sahasrar, by the time it reaches Sahasrars, it is face to face with the divine. Face to face with the divine, two things will happen. One thing is the variety will reduce, and the other thing, you are face to face, like the mind is the mirror and mirror is facing your face. So what will be there in the mirror? Your face alone. So no doubt. Who are you? No doubt about your nature. See? It's a limited example, but serves our purpose. See? So here, now, in the 19th verse, did we do 19th? Narayan?
स्वामी जी
19th से शुरू करना है कि पहले कर लिया ये 19th?
देख रहा हूँ स्वामी।
हाँ ठीक है. We read till, we'll read it again and we will not go through all the details of it. सब हाँ हाँ ठीक है. So 30 तक 30. Okay. So here, okay. Do you remember till where we did? Narayan.
30th is correct. We did until 30th.
30th. 30.
Yeah, we read it until there.
Okay. But we will just, before we go ahead, again, on the 25th verse, it says, Iti nana prasankhyanam tattvanam rushibhi krutam sarva nyayam yuktimatvad vidusham kimashobhanam. Thus, the fundamental principles have been reckoned in different ways by various seers, various sages. Someone says it is 5, someone says it is 25, someone says it is 7, someone says it is 26, and so on. All that reckoning is justified, supported as it is by reason. What is there unbecoming on the part of the wise? When it has been revealed to these great masters, revealed to these great sages, then we have to just accept it. Somewhere they divide it into space, air, fire, water, earth, 5, and the 5 senses into 5, and the 5 karmendriyas into 5, 15, plus 1 mind. Okay, what can you do? To someone else it was revealed as space, air, fire, water, earth, and manabuddhi. That's it. For someone it was revealed as space, air, fire, water, earth, and mind, intellect, memory, and ego. That was their revelation. Question is, are we going to get lost in taking a stance that this is right and that is wrong? No. We must understand that all these evolutes, all these categories are part of the potentiality, part of the same potentiality. That one Prakriti, matter alone, someone is saying it is 5, someone is saying it is 7, someone is saying it is 10, someone is saying it is 25, and it does not matter. In the end, it is matter alone. Now Uddhavji Maharaj says, Prakriti Purushashchobhau Yadyapyatma Vilakshanau Anyonya Prashrayat Krishna Drushyate Nabhidatayoho Prakrutau Lakshate Hyatma Prakrutischa Tathatmani Evam me Pundarikaksha Mahantam Sanshayam Hrudi Chetumarhasi Sarvajna Vachobhirnayanai Punaihi Tvatto Jnanam hi Jivanam Pramoshastetra Shaktitaha Tvameva Hyatma Mayaya Gatim Vethana Chapara. Although both Prakriti, the primordial matter, when they say primordial matter, Prakriti, when we use the word Prakriti or the potentiality or the primordial matter, means it has not started dividing yet. It has not become Trigunatmika. The waves have not started forming it. When matter is absolutely unmanifest, still, without any disturbance, it is like that calm waters in which the moon is fully reflecting, in which when mind is absolutely calm, without going to sleep, then it is that mind, unmanifest, when we call it, it is that where the self is fully reflecting, fully available. So that is primordial matter. Although both Prakriti, primordial matter, and Purusha, the spirit, are essentially distinct from one another, their diversity is not perceived, O Krishna, because of their interrelation. The spirit is seen in and through the body, a product of matter alone, and Prakriti body is too seen as an identical with the self. This is our experience. Now this is Uddhavaji saying, I see that this Prakriti, this matter container called body, it is infused with life. I can't separate. People try separating it by suicide. People try separating it through yoga, extreme tapasya. They try to separate, but you cannot separate it. Consciously, you cannot separate it. And the other way also. So one side is we can't see that this matter, the interrelationship between the Purusha and Prakriti, in between the life and the potential and the potentiality. We cannot separate it. So here he is saying that is seen identical. Be pleased, O therefore, O lotus-eyed one, to resolve the grave doubt in my mind in this matter by your clever words, supported with reason. Since enlightenment in this world comes to the jivas, embodied souls, through you alone, and the obscuration of knowledge follows from your energy in the shape of avidya or nescience. Therefore, you alone know the course of your own maya, none else. Now, this is the secret. In short, I will tell you, then we'll read what he says. I have already told you, but now, specific point. If we are not able to separate consciousness from matter, isn't it? We are not able to separate ourselves from our mind. We find it so difficult. Oh my God, the mind, the consciousness is fully expressing, as this Kiran said, through every cell, through every part of our body. And where is the mind? Where is the potentiality? Is potentiality only in the brain? No, it is also expressing through every part of the body. It alone is the body. So, mind cannot exist as mind without the consciousness, and consciousness cannot come to know or express without the mind. Now, how do we separate these two? Can you separate man from husband? Can you separate man from husband? Yes, you can. Wife has to die. Or wife has to be divorced. Then husband is gone. And why did it go? Whatever goes was never there in the first place. It was only an illusion. So now this is the rule. Okay, we'll not go into Vedanta. We'll look at I'm explaining. I don't want to go into that. So here, Uddhav is saying, how does this Jivatma recognize that he is the Atma? Atma identified with body is called Jivatma or soul. How does he separate himself from the body in order to realize that he is the Atma, the all-pervading one? And why, oh Lord, you should tell me? Because you have the capacity, you only put me in this position. As an individual, I can never separate myself from the mind. But when this individual starts contemplating on the divine, then alone the separation comes about. Now think, I will give you just one small example and then we'll go into the verses that the Lord is, what Bhagavan says. When you, I think I spoke about this last week, when you are sleeping, are you aware of your body? Are you aware of your breathing? Are you aware who is sleeping next to you? Are you aware, like when we went to the camp in India when we were in school, and while one of our friends he was a bully. So that after it was a 10-day camp, and after 3-4 days we all had it. So what did we do? While he was sleeping on the 4-legged charpai, we all lifted the charpai, took it outside the camp and left him on the road. And when he got up in the morning, hey, where am I? So he did not know because he was not aware. See? क्या मैं बोल रहा था? Yes. So only when we, the individual, faces the Lord, when we face the Lord, we don't go to sleep, we remain awake even when the mind is quiet. Then we are conscious. So in deep sleep, we are disidentified from the body. Every night we are disidentified from the body. Every night we are disidentified from all the roles that we are playing. We are disidentified from the body identification, but we don't know it. So now we want to know it. So either you remain awake. Now question is how to remain awake. You think of the Lord, invoke His grace to keep you awake. We have practiced it from childhood till today. We have practiced that the moment we touch the bed, we go to sleep. Make an experiment, make it a game. Curiosity, exploration. That what will happen while I am going to sleep. I want to catch that moment when the sleep is about to come. So, become aware. Again and again, every night. One day it will click. Like I was playing this game 100 times, I actually had a crash. But if I keep practicing, after that, sometime I'll get the knack of driving the car on the Play 3 station. When I started learning the actual physical car, not a virtual car, physical car, we are so scared, we are so tight, we used to hold the wheel like this and then go. But today, no problem. Practice makes a man perfect. So we must practice. Try to catch that moment when you go to sleep. Try to catch the moment when you wake up in the morning, where mind is absolutely, naturally quiet, free of all multiplicity, and you are available to yourself as you are. And if you can't, then keep lovingly thinking about the divine, thinking about the Lord. It will bring you to the same point where I am telling you to, which I am telling you to practice. But let's see now from this point onwards what Bhagwan says. He says, we'll read each verse as we go along. Prakriti Purushascheti, Shri Bhagavan Prakriti Purushascheti Vikalpa Purusharshabha Esha Vaikarika Sargo Gunavyatikaratmakaha. He says, Prakriti, the body, and Purusha, the soul, there is radical difference between the two, O jewel among men. The psychophysical organism, which is a product of Prakriti, undergoes numerous changes in the course of its existence, inasmuch as it owes its existence to a disturbance in the equilibrium of the three gunas, while the soul is absolutely changeless. Now, understand this about yourself. What is that? All disturbance is in the Prakriti, in the soul, in the life principle. There is no disturbance. And what is the disturbance? I told you many times, we'll keep repeating from Bhagavad when we began, from then till today. When was that? 12, 13 years ago we started Bhagavad. So from that time, we have been repeating again and again the same thing, that the potentiality is a phenomena. The Prakriti is the phenomena, and it is expressing and it has two expressions. One is called manifestation, the other is called unmanifestation. The conscious principle, the soul, which we see in the movies going out of the body, or when we come across a dead person, something is missing from that person. What is that? The conscious principle is missing from that person. See? So that never undergoes change. Now it is not that the conscious principle, when the person died, the conscious principle came out and then went away somewhere. No. If this house breaks, where will the space go? If this house breaks, where will the space go? Can it go anywhere? Because it is not other than the total space. Exactly same way, this individual consciousness is not other than the infinite consciousness. So here it is told that the Prakriti, the Purusha, all the changes are happening in the Prakriti, not in the Purusha. All the changes are happening at an individual level, all changes are happening in the mind, not in the conscious principle, not in the spirit, not in the consciousness, not in the self, but in the mind, in the matter. Mind is matter, and therefore it doesn't matter. So, where are the psychological issues? What is psychology? Psychology is the study of the mind. Where is ambition? Where is depression? Where is disease? Where is aspiration? Where is past? Where is present? Where is future? Where is imagination? Where is conviction? All this is, where are thoughts? Because everything that we have just now narrated, it's all but nothing but thoughts. Where is all this? In the mind. And mind is matter, Prakriti, which sometimes it is manifest and sometimes it is unmanifest. It has got nothing to do with the conscious presence that you are. Recognize this about yourself, even while we are speaking. That mind is thinking by itself, nose is breathing by itself, the ear is hearing by itself, the eyes are seeing by itself. You are the one who is the witness of all this that is going on. You are not saying, Arey, I forgot, I have to see also. Arey, yaar, I have got lost in seeing, now I have to hear also. Is this problem happening with you? No. Because you are the eternal witness. So, here he says, Bhagavan says, that recognize all these disturbances are in the Maya or in the mind. And these disturbances are on account of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Knowledge, dynamism or purity, dynamism and inertia. These are the three words. Sattva is knowledge or purity. Rajas is dynamism or activity. And Tamas is inertia or sleep or nidra, sleep. Then he says in the 30th verse, Mamanga Maya Gunamaya Nekadha Vikalpa Buddhischa Gunair Vidhatte Vaikarikastri Vidho Dhyatmanekam Athadhi Daivam Adhibhutamanyata. He says, my Maya, enchanting potency. My Maya, enchanting potency, O loved one, consisting as it does of the three gunas, created by means of those very gunas, differences as well as the manifold notions of notional differences. So now he is explaining what I have already explained, but we'll go through it quickly. That this Maya, the first expression of this Maya is Trigunatmika, purity, dynamism and inertia. The first expression. Just like in you, what are these three? Waker, dreamer, sleeper. Waker is sattva, dreamer is rajas, and sleeper is tamas. See? This is the first expression. And you know why? If I ask you this question, which I asked you many times, I'll keep repeating it. Do you know that yesterday you were awake? Yes, sir. Did you dream yesterday? Yes, sir. Did you sleep yesterday? Yes, sir. What about day before yesterday? Yes, I did these three. What about 1 year ago? Yes, I did these three. What about 10 years ago? Yes, I did these three. So, which means you never, the waker, dreamer, and sleeper, these three are coming and going every day, and the fact that you are at this moment nodding your head saying that yes, these three have been experienced by me for so many years, which means you are the witness of these three. Then why do you fall down to the level of waker, dreamer, and sleeper? Play the role, let them happen. The waker and the waking world, both are happening at the prakriti level, mind level. Dreamer and dream world happening at the mind level, matter level, prakriti level. And the absence of the two is called deep sleep, that is also happening at the mind level. See? Think. When we give too much, and out of all these three, we have given maximum importance to the waking. And in that waking world, to some person we call her wife or husband, and some person we call a child, and this person we call a friend, and this building we call my house, my family, my life, my parents. And we lose the bigger plot. We lose the bigger plot. See? When you are sick, do you go to a specialist or you go to a general practitioner? Who is a specialist? Who knows more and more of less and less. He is a specialist, cardiac specialist. He knows only about heart. And in that also you start getting, one is specialist only about the left ventricle or the right ventricle. If you go to him, he'll kill you before you are supposed to die. Then whom do you go? You first go to the general practitioner. Who is a general practitioner? Who knows a little bit about everything. See? He has the wholesome view of life. He has a wholesome view of life. He doesn't straight away send you to the hospital for operation, to cut and paste. He looks at you, tells you, oh, just wait for 1 or 2 days, do some steaming, take some medicine, take some Panadol, take this medicine, take that medicine, see if it happens. They try without medicine, then they say, oh, with medicine. And then and he knows the symptoms, and when he sees this, that the symptoms are serious, then he sends you to the specialist. See? So, when we come to spirituality, when we live as a waker, we have become specialist, only concerned about the waking world. So, we have to be general. For general, you have to take a position that these three are known by me, and I am the true nature of mine is the one who knows these three, who is other than the waker, who is other than the dreamer, who is other than the sleeper, yet supporting the waker, dreamer, and sleeper. See? My Maya, enchanting potency, O loved one, consisting as it does of the three gunas, creates by means of those very gunas. So, by its own gunas, the Prakriti is always unmanifest. when it manifests out of itself. When will it do? When it is in the presence of the Purusha. Purusha, the conscious principle. If there is no Purusha, Prakriti cannot do it. In fact, if there is no Purusha, there is no Prakriti also. Because we see, if life goes out of the body, body also vanishes out of existence. So, in the presence of the Purusha, the Prakriti out of itself expresses as the three gunas, and then these three gunas interact with each other and create the multiplicity of creation that you are experiencing at this moment. And if you want to put the experience of the creation into a nutshell, the nutshell is waking creation, dream creation and deep sleep creation. That's all. See? There is no other creation apart from this. All others are only imaginations of the mind, and imaginations can happen only in the waking and dream. So, here he says, though limitless in variety, this changeable universe is broadly speaking threefold in character. One such variety is Adhyatma, the next in order is Adhidaiva, and the other is Adhibhuta. The sense of till here we did last week. Yes, I remember now. So Adhidaiva is within, Adhidaiva, Adhyatma is within, is the subjective, is the subject. Adhibhuta is the object, and Adhidaiva is the instrument through which the subject experiences the object. For example, I am seeing you. So, you are the Adhibhut, or this computer is the Adhibhut, the objective experience. Who is experiencing? I am experiencing. Which I? The seer, because I am seeing. So, I, with respect to seen, is the Adhyatmic. And what is the faculty that I am using to experience the object called the computer or you people in the picture? Through, that is the eyes, the vision. That vision is the Adhidaiv. That is the potential within the eyes to express as vision is called Adhidaiva. And same thing now you can apply in hearer, heard, hearing. Hearer is the Adhyatmic, heard is the Adhibhautik, and hearing is the Adhidaivik. And this way you can, this whole world can be now, just like we say that the matter can be divided into waker, dreamer and sleeper. We are talking about threes: past, present and future. Another way of categorizing this world is subject, object and the instrument of knowledge. Adhyatmic, Adhibhautik, and the interaction is due to the Adhidaivik. Think. And these three are pervading every aspect of knowledge. Experiencer, experienced, experiencing. I know you. I is the subject. I is equal to subject is equal to Adhyatma. You is equal to the image that I am seeing on the computer is equal to Adhibhautik. And the instrument, the eyes, and eyes are inert, dead man cannot see. Dead man cannot see. So what is the potential within the eyes? What is that power within the eyes which is able to express, to catch the vision? It is the vision itself, the principle of vision. So that vision is the Adhyatmic. So experiencer, experienced and experiencing. knower, known, knowing. And this way the entire experience of ours, here Bhagavan is saying, here he gives one example in the 31st verse, let's read that. Druk rupamarkam vapuratra randhre parasparam siddhyati yasvatakhe atmaya deshama paroya adhyah swayanubhutya kila siddha siddhi evam tvagadi shravanadi chakshuh jivhadi nasadi cha vittayuktam chittayuktam. He says, the sense of sight, for example, falls under the category of adhyatma, seer. Color, its object is adhibhuta, the seen. And the solar element existing in the organ of sight, which enables it to perceive light. All light is because of the sun. So what is that power because of which the eye is able to see the various colors? That is the Adidaiva. And therefore, I think I mentioned it last week, but again, that when we are doing puja, we do the Anganyas. We invoke, not Anganyas, but we invoke before God, the expression of the God in various parts of the body. So that this becomes a temple where the puja is being done. Prajanane Brahma tishtatu, Padayor Vishnus tishtatu, and it goes on. Every part of the body. So according to our scriptures, the left eye is the place of the moon, the left eye is the place of the sun, the Ashwini Kumars are at the nostrils, the directions are at the ears, Vishnu is in the feet, Brahmaji is in the is in the Swadhisthana chakra. See? And the whole, you can read the Laghunyas, in that it is given. If you read Vishnu Puran, something else is given, but from Narayana's point of view, there it is, in Rudram it is given from Shiva's point of view. But the idea is that all gods are not above the clouds. Gods, we are very clear. Some people are not clear, but we are very clear. Gods means the potential within. So that potential expresses at the individual level and the total level. That potential at the individual level is called mind, at the total level it is called Maya. Understand? The consciousness expressing in identification with the individual is called Jivatma, individuality. If this individuality is able to, instead of identifying only with this body, if it creates a mindset to get identified with the totality, then this individuality will not be called individuality, then it is called Ishvara. Think. So when this consciousness gets identified with the waking, it's called a waker. When it gets identified with dreaming, it is called dreamer. When it gets identified with the absence of both, it is called sleeper. When it gets identified with the heaven, it is called Indra. When it gets identified with the totality, it is called Ishvara. This is the secret of our scriptures. Behind the words of Krishna, Shiva, Rama, Radha, Sita, Gauri, Ganesha, Kartikeya, we have got no problem with their names, but we understand that it is that one reality alone is expressing in and through. Just like we know whether it is a tsunami or a Pacific, the largest ocean, or a teeny mini ocean called Mediterranean Sea, Caspian Sea. It's the same waters, H2O. Whether it expresses as the ice block in Greenland or in the Arctic, it is also H2O. Whether it expresses as the wave, it is H2O. Whether it expresses as the ocean totality, it's still H2O. And by its nature, essence, it is H2O. So here he says, the solar element existing in the organ of sight which enables it to perceive light is Adideva. Every one of these three depend for its existence on the other two. This is now very, very important. If there is no waking world, there can be no waker. If there is no wife, there can be no husband. If there is no child, there can be no father. You identify with the wife, with the lady, with the wife, immediately the husband kicks in. You shift your attention to the mother, immediately the son kicks out, expresses. See? So here when he is saying that every one of these three depend, just like this tripod stand, if I take one leg out of it, the stand cannot be called a stand. See? So if I am the seer, you are the seen, and vision is there. If I take out the seer, the instruments have got no meaning, and the seen, there is no one to cognize the seen. If I take out the seen, there is no one to see, then the I, the subject, the seer, cannot be called a seer because there is nothing to see. And the vision has got no purpose. And if the seen is also there and the seer is there, but the vision is not there, then what will you do? Will a thought that I saw this, will this be formed? Cannot be possible. So understand this principle. I am talking now, this is the same. This principle is expressing seer, seen, hearing, hearer, heard, hearing, knower, known, knowing, experiencer, experienced, experiencing, waker, waking, waking experience, dreamer, dream world, dream experience. Wherever these three are, wherever there is an experience happening, there will be an experiencer, there will be experienced, and there will be experiencing some instrument. Either you are using your mind or your senses to experience the experienced. Now look at this world. You are there. Now put it into a nutshell. You are there. And what are you experiencing? This world. Isn't it? Just like experiencer, experienced and experiencing are the three are required, same way for this world also. Three are required in order for the world to exist. And what are they? Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar. Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar. So, individual, total, and the cosmos. These three are required in order for this creation to exist. See? If you take out one, it collapses. No, I am a Nastic. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in goddess. I don't believe in self. I don't believe in consciousness. It's okay, don't believe. Whether you believe or don't believe does not mean that it is not existing. It is still there. How can something that I don't believe in can exist? Have you experienced space? But you use the word space. Have you ever experienced the mind, seen the mind as an object, but you still accept? Have you ever seen sleep, but you still accept that I was sleeping? So there are many experiences. People who have gone into coma and come out, oh, I was in coma, as if yesterday only I went for holiday there. Huh? I went into coma. But how did you know it is coma? Other people must have told. You didn't go in there by choice. See? So we have majority of the things that we are talking about. Oh, I got a 4 terabyte. Today only I brought it for formatting to this fellow. 2 terabyte. Little bit. It's only this size. 4 terabyte or 2 terabyte. Now, where did it come from? Once upon a time, I remember in the olden days, for 50 GB, I used to have such a big disk. And it had its own motor, and it had its own charger, and this and that. My God, to carry it everywhere, it used to be difficult. Now, that was 50 GB. Now I got something like a passport, mini passport, which can hold 4 terabytes. 400 times, 400 kitna ho gaya? 50 times, whatever it is. 80 times. 80 times more. How come the storage is becoming smaller and smaller, and the contents capacity is becoming larger and larger? Oh my God. Now you open this, you will not find the data. You will only find different parts. You open the whole car, you will not find the horsepower, but you know there is horsepower which moves the car. See? You cut the body. So many people have done that. So many scientists have done that. In the concentration camps, they did the same thing. Poor fellows who suffered there. They were finding where the mind is, where the life is. So even if we cut ourselves up completely, microscopically, atom by atom, we will not be able to find the mind. We will not be able to find the mind. But don't we accept that there is a mind? And isn't our mind like this hard disk? As we are growing, is it not growing in capacity? By way of memories, by way of knowledge, by way of experiences? See? And what do we say? If you want powers, you want siddhis. Now you have cluttered your mind too much, you reduce the cluttering in your mind, and your capacity of the mind will increase. Reduce the data in your mind, and your mind will expand. Means matter will expand. Reduce the data means reduce the identification. See? So, have a wholesome view of the whole thing. So here he is saying this Adibhuta, Adidaiva and Adhyatmik, the subject, the object and the instrument of experiencing. Everything is pervading. Adhyatmik is the sattva. Adibhut is the tamas. Adidaiva is the rajas. Again, these three are pervading because nothing in this cause alone expresses as the effects. So Maya, potentiality, expresses as the sattva, rajas, tamas, and now we have again come to these three: seer, seen, seeing, or the experiencer, experienced, experiencing. Then those three must be present. Adhyatmik, Adidaiva and Adibhuta. So Adhyatmik is the sattva principle of the Maya. Adidaiva is the rajasic principle which is expressing as the instrument of experience, and The experienced is the tamasic principle of Adibhuta. See how you are I hope you are understanding, and I'll guarantee after the class, if you try to think about it again, it will go away. Again, you will have to hear it again. So listen with an empty mind right now, so it becomes once and for all you understand that this is the Maya, expression of the Maya. This is the expression of the Maya. That, and each one is depending on the other two. That also I have explained. That which exists in the sky, the orb of the sun, however being self-existence, is independent of these three. See, so now at a very physical level, I am the seer, you are the seen, and the vision is happening here. The experience of the colors and forms and shapes is happening here. Why is it happening? Because there is light. Where is light coming from? From the sun. Is the sun getting affected because there is a seer born, there is vision happening, or there is seen? Is sun affected by it? No. Is sun affected if there is a hearer heard hearing, if there is an experiencer experienced experiencing? No. Sun is not affected by anything. He is in his place, illuminating the whole thing. Recognize this about yourself, that you are essentially the Atma, the untouched, the unchanging principle, in whose light the mind itself is expressing as the Adhyatma, as I thought, Adibhuta as that thought, in technical terms, Aham Vritti and Idam Vritti. And the third is the Adidaiva, the instrument of knowledge. Where is this happening? It is happening in the mind. And who are you? Other than the mind. I'll bring you back to the previous example. The waking world is existing because there is a waker, Adhyatma. Waking world, Adhyatma, waking world, Adibhuta, and waking experience, Adidaiva. See? And who are you? You are other than it. So when I ask you, did you have a waking experience yesterday? You say, yes, I was awake yesterday. Who was this fellow? Can the waker say that? No. He is lost in what is in the present moment, what is going on. So who is this person who knows that yesterday there was a waking experience of the waking world? There was a dream experience with the dreamer, dream world, and the dream experience? He must be someone other than the waker, dreamer, and sleeper. These waker, dreamer, and sleeper are only expressions of thought in the mind. They are not the self. They are not the self. They can never be the self. It is not possible. Can oil and water mix? Can oil and water mix? Not possible. Exactly the same way. Can consciousness and matter mix? Not possible. But we have accepted ourselves that we are the mixture of consciousness and matter. Buddhu. There is no admixture possible. Consciousness is infinite, it is eternal, it is unborn, it is undying, it is blissful, it is knowledge incarnate of the nature of knowledge. It is ever existing. Matter is exactly the opposite. It is born, it dies, it is changing, it is inert. It comes and goes. It appears only in certain circumstances, not always. You cannot have waking all the time, only certain time. You cannot have dream all the time, only certain time. You cannot have sleep all the time. Swamiji, don't challenge us. We'll sleep now and show you. See? So matter is not eternal. Consciousness is eternal. How can these two diametrically opposite qualities marry with each other? It's not possible. And yet, that is our experience at this moment, isn't it? So first understand it is not possible, and yet this is our experience at this moment, that I am a conscious living being and I think that I am the matter called the body, living in the matter called the world. This hypnosis we have to get out of. That is called spirituality. That is called merging in the divine. See? This is the magic of Maya, where we are caught up right now. That I am the body. Don't accept you are the body. Keep thinking that I am the infinite one. I am like the sun who is illuminating everything. I am that one within, at this moment, not within, at this very moment, I am the one who is illuminating the seer, seen, seeing, the hearer, heard, hearing, the experiencer, experienced, experiencing. Don't take ownership. That's why I said before, be empty, allow the knowledge to pass through. Word knowledge, let it go and clean the mind up. See? Similarly, since the Atma being the cause of all these, so here see he's saying, since the Atma being the cause of all these, the three, Adhyatma, Adidaiva and Adibhautik, is their witness and therefore different from them. Therefore, by virtue of its own self-existent conscious nature, illumines all the illuminating agents. What are the illuminating agents? The seer, the hearer, the experiencer, the knower, the smeller, the taster, the feeler, all the all the erring personalities. Father, mother, brother, they are also Only son is not. But mother is illusion. Son is reality. I am saying that because she is sitting here. बेटे को क्या बोलते हैं संस्कृत में? See? So understand, all these erring roles that we are taken up, they are not real, they are errors. And we identify with those errors and accept ourselves to be that. That's where the ego then, collection of all these erring personalities, collection and acceptance of all these erring personalities, with ending with ER, is called ego. Is called ego. And that ego also is existing in its own absence. There is no ego actually speaking. Just like there is no mind, ego is also an idea of the mind. It also does not exist. But right now I cannot say that because how can you get a call when I am giving lecture? Ego. See? At a drop of a hat, ego comes up. So recognize this play without getting caught up in it. And this is a way of explaining to Uddhavji Maharaj and through Uddhavji to us. That, because understand, many masters in India, if you go to Vrindavan and other places, they never speak on the whole Bhagavatam. They only speak on the 11th canto, because this is the Moksha Skandha. Moksha, this is the canto, the 11th canto, where such widespread ways of approaches are given for liberation. There was one great saint by the name of Eknath Ji Maharaj from Maharashtra. He only spoke on the 11th canto. If you read his Bhagavad commentary, it is only on the 11th canto and not on any other cantos of the Bhagavatam. You know that? Eknathi Bhagavat. Only on 11th canto. The most cherished one. Every chapter takes you to the self, to the divine, to Krishna. Just as the eye has been shown above to have three aspects, the tactile sense, the auditory sense, the palate, the olfactory sense, and as well as the intellect, mind, ego, and the faculty of reason also should be similarly understood to possess a threefold character. I have explained that exhaustively now. Hope you understand. And if you ask me the question next time, you are in trouble. I'm not going to repeat all this again. I'm joking. Now, in the 32nd verse, he says, Bhagavan says, Yosau gunakshobhakruto vikaraha pradhana molan mahata prasutaha aham trivrun moha vikalpa hetuhu vaikarikastamasas aindriyascha. He says that the modification evolved out of the Mahat Tattva, which has its root in Prakriti, through the instrumentality of the Kala, the time, or the God, who is responsible for disturbing the equilibrium of the three gunas, modes of Prakriti, that is Ahankara, the cosmic ego, and which is of three kinds, that is Sattvika, Rajasic, and Tamasic ego, lies at the root of notion of difference brought into being by ignorance about the self. So understand, Paramatma, out of his own desire, when he wanted to experience himself, the first expression, the moment he has desire, Paramatma is not called Paramatma, now he becomes Ishwar and Maya or Prakriti. As Ishwara himself is the divine, with respect, we are calling him that Paramatma, we are calling it Ishwara with respect to Prakriti. That Prakriti, Ishwara then tickles Prakriti, impregnates Prakriti. That's how a child is born, no? Embraces Prakriti. So there are different ways of creation. Creation doesn't happen. We human beings only know one way of impregnating the partner. See? But there are many cases where divine impregnation has happened. In case of Krishna, even in normal life, when one Mahatma blesses, just without, man is not required, it happens. See? So, Ishvara taking the role of time. Time is sequence. The first one, for the one to create, it's simultaneous. Time and sequence begins simultaneously. Without sequence, you cannot have the first unit of time. Just like without Prakriti, you cannot have Ishvara. So he impregnates. The moment Ishvara impregnates, embraces the Prakriti, that very moment Ishvara is now called as time, and at that very moment, due to that impregnation, that embrace, the Prakriti now starts expressing as Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And as it expands, the potentiality within that Prakriti, Trigunatmika Prakriti, to express as the infinite cosmos is there. See? And that infinite possibility, just like infinite possibility is available in your mind, of what? Of all the wakers, dreamers and sleepers of the many days that are going to come in the future. Is it true or not? So same way, the unexpressed, unmanifest potentiality. So the seed has come. Imagine the seed has taken, when seed is lying in the bottle in the house, it is dry, there is no life in it. But you put it in the soil. Sometimes we put those dhania, coriander seeds, or you take the fenugreek seeds, you put it in the ground, it's dry. When you put it, it is dry. But the moment the water, the sun, heat of the earth and the moisture comes, suddenly it gets impregnated. It starts bulging up as if life is expressing in it. So the potential of the root, the shoot, the fruits, the flowers, the leaves, the branches, all that is available in that seed, but that nothing you can see. You can't see the root or you can't see the shoot. In school we did that experiment. Every day we used to draw what is the stage of that seed, that is of its expansion. I don't know if you guys did it, but we did it. So the potential is there. So that Ishvara, that Paramatma was called Ishvara with respect to Prakriti. That same Ishvara was called as time, which with respect to Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, the first disturbance. That disturbance which is having the infinite potential of expression, which has got life in it now, it's impregnated. And that is called the golden egg. That is the Hiranyagarbha. So the life, so that Paramatma now with respect to Hiranyagarbha, that cosmic egg is called as Mahat Tattva. Mahat, greater than the greatest. Tattva, the essence. Then in that golden egg, then the tamas becomes the potential of tamas to express as space, air, fire, water, earth. It has not manifested. The potential is there. The rajas expresses as the karmendriya and the jnanendriyas, and the sattva expresses as mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. All this potential, it has become invoked, but it has not expressed yet. And when it expresses, the first person that is created, he is called the Virat Purush, the cosmic person. He is called the cosmic person. And in that cosmic person, all the till here is the cosmic creation. Till here is the divine creation. And that creation is also imaginary. In that creation is also, just because we have to explain to this stupid individual. So we have created a sequence of thought so that we can trace ourselves back to the root cause. That's why we have created this sequence. Who has created for us? The scriptures have created for us. Because it's most compassionate, it has got the best interest for us. Physics, chemistry, mathematics doesn't take you anywhere. They only prepare you for a profession. They make you ready for the race and keep having accidents like I did today. So whole life is only full of accidents. Only few successes here and there. Rest is all an accident. See, we want to get out of this and recognize that we are that eternal principle. So here Bhagavan says in the 32nd verse that uh, lies at the root of the notion of difference brought into being by ignorance about the self. So, why are we studying this sequence of Ishwar, Paramatma, Ishwara, Prakriti, Trigunatmika, Kala, Hiranyagarbha, Mahat Tattva? Because we stupid, ignorant people, we have forgotten our essential nature. Even though we are it, we are choosing not to accept ourselves as that infinite one. How can you say that I accept? Now what? No, there are there are symptoms. I accept I am the infinite one. Acha, Shilpa, what is there for dinner? I am the infinite. Infinite doesn't get hungry. Infinite doesn't give a lecture. Infinite doesn't listen. Infinite doesn't become a seeker. I am talking about become. It supports the seeker, but it doesn't become a seeker. So allow all the roles to play. You did not create them. You did not create the body. You did not create the roles. You did not create the Bhagwan as you know it. You did not create this creation. Let the whole game go on. Don't get identified with it. Don't get identified with the creation. Don't get identified with this individual body. It's also part of the creation. Don't get identified with individual mind. Otherwise, you will precipitate individuality. So, when I told you about the Virat Purush, the total cosmic person, in that total cosmic person, imagine that total cosmic person. We read the story of Avijñāt and Puranjan. Remember, many, many years ago. They were enjoying the company, the totality and the individual phenomena. They were enjoying each other's company, roaming around in this cosmos. And the Puranjan, he gives up his total vision and he looks at the beautiful 15-16-year-old girl in the beautiful city of Puranjani. And the moment he looks at, oh, how beautiful, bang, he falls down from the aerial car. That's what has happened to us. Puranjan got identified. I think she'll be a good wife. Afterwards he realizes that she's millions of years old woman whom he was living, because she tells him that if you ask me what is my age, if you ask me anything about my past, I cannot be with you. Second rule was, if you leave out of this body, leave out of this palace surroundings, everything will vanish as you know it. But human being, individual is curious. What is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? Curiosity kills the cat. So after hundreds of years of enjoying, he also became young. She was also young. That girl is the intellect, Puranjani. The city in which she was staying is the body. Her commander-in-chief who walks in front of her is the prana. 5 commanders behind, they are the prana, pan, vyan, udan, saman. And the entire army behind is all the various nadis. The trees and bushes are the hair. The beautiful ponds and lakes and rivulets and streams, they are all the blood streams and organs of the body. And this Puranjan, out of curiosity, why did she? He says, whatever you say, I will accept. After accepting it for many years, afterwards, when same thing, even beauty of 16, 17, young girl, for him, it was the opposite sex. After enjoying each other for so long, he got bored with it. Imagine. Our mind is like this. It wants variety. So he went out of the city. When he went out of the city, First time nothing happened to the city, second time nothing happened to the city, but third time he went a bit further away, there was an attack on the city. Fourth time he went even further away. When he came back, he saw some guards dead. Meaning, the more we become extrovert in life, our immune system weakens. And fifth time he goes very far away for hunting. He says, why did my wife tell me not to go out? Such a beautiful world is there out there. Trees, birds, this, that. She did a disservice to me by not allowing me. And that day, after a long trip outside, he comes back, he finds the city destroyed. When he goes to his wife, Puranjani, he finds that wife has become, she was no longer 16-year-old, he was looking for a young girl who is dead. But because the impregnable walls of the city were broken down by the outside forces, they destroyed everything in the city. And they even killed her. And when he goes looking and he finds one old, skin hanging, no strength. He says, who are you? She says, I am your wife, Puranjani. Oh, you can't be my wife. My wife was a young girl, full of life. I didn't marry an old woman. You're not even old. You're old. That's why Anubhav is going to be a brahmachari. Huh? And then, in the pain of separation of that woman, of his wife, Puranjan dies. See? So when we move out away from our mind, then the story goes on, when we move out away from our mind, thinking that this world is real, we are doing disservice to ourselves. How come in the same body Mahatmas, great saints and sages even today, living today in India are there, how come they don't get affected by the world? How come they are so much in bliss in spite of the world? They are also expressing in the body. Their body is also in this world only. So what did they do something different compared to us, that we are having temporary joys and happinesses and they are continuously unadulterated, homogeneous bliss they are abiding in all the time? How come? This is the way. So all individuality is imagined. Understand this. Virat Purush, the cosmic person, is ever happy. This cosmic person was given, the vision of it was given in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. But in that cosmic person, all individuality is imagined. Just like suppose you are the cosmic person. The liver says, I am an individual. The world is running because of me. I have to take over the whole body. Body will get destroyed if liver takes over. What happens? Acidity increases, no? What is that? Pitta increases. If pancreas say, I have to take over, I am the most important, then what happens? Diabetes, body gets destroyed. So it is, individuality is like that. I am someone, I am somebody, I am self-made, I am don't mess with me. It's an invitation to your own destruction. And that destruction is welcome, but it will be a miserable destruction. It will not be a happy destruction. You will crib and complain and writhe in pain as out of your control, the life is taken away from you. But when we are living as the Virat, or thinking about the Virat, Ishvara or the Virat Purusha, because Virat means the cosmic form, the infinite form. Ishvara is without form, but with attributes. Virat is with attributes, with form, but total form. What is the total form? You can't see it. But that vision was, for that you need the Jnana Chakshu. You need the divine, the third eye to be opened by grace. See? So just like if every cell in our body imagines that he is an individual, so what will be liberation for it? That I have to realize Paramananda. I have to realize the total body, that I am the total. For that one cell to realize that he is the infinite or the total, what it has to do? It has to stop thinking that it is a cell. Exactly the same way, we, you, me and every one of us have to stop thinking we are an individual. And how do you stop your being the individual? Stop identifying with the form. How do you stop identifying with the form? Start thinking about the total, the all-inclusive principle. Start thinking about it. Don't look outwards. Something will hijack your mind and destroy you. That just like that Puranjan, he went outside the gates of the city and the city was destroyed. See? So we accept ourselves as waking world, waking world, waking experience, dreamer, dream world, dream experience, sleepers, and no experience of the previous two. It is happening only because of ignorance. Ignorance about what? Ignorance of our essential nature. As ignorance about who we are really. And who are we? The Immaculate One. Who are we? The one without second. Who are we? The Atma, which is not other than the Paramatma. Atma at the individual level, Paramatma at the total. Actually both are one and the same. We are just using the word Atma, Paramatma just so that it becomes accessible. That's all. See? So, with this thought, and you are the witness. So you are not the waker, waking world, waking experience, dreamer, dream world, dream experience, sleeper, sleep, and absence of the two. You are the witness of these three. These three are the phenomena coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. Because they are coming and going, you are not coming and going. How can I prove that? Because when I ask you the question, did you experience these three states yesterday, day before yesterday, day to day before yesterday? You say yes, which means you were the witness of these three phenomena taking place all the time. Exactly the same way, in this waking experience, we are the witness. That is our natural position. We are the witness who are illuminating the phenomena of seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, thinking. Every experience is we are illuminating. So don't take yourself to be the seer. Let seeing happen. That is how the sages live. The last verse now. Atma parijnana mayo vivado yastiti nastiti bhedartha nishtha vyarthopi naivo parameta pumsam matta paravritta dhiyam swalokat. He says the controversy, now Bhagavan is answering, so that's why I missed so much in between, because all this information is not required. So he says, Bhagavan says to Uddhava, the controversy whether the self is distinguished from the body exists or not is the result of not realizing the self. Understand this. Questions come in our mind only because we have not recognized who we essentially are. And that recognition is not possible through thoughts. It is not possible through mind. As much justification we may give. No, I have to do japa. Oh, I have to do this. I have to study scriptures. I can give you n number of Mahatmas' names who have never studied scriptures and they realize the self. Famous ones that you know, Anandamayi Ma, Ramana Maharishi, our Nisargadatta Maharaj, Shirdi Sai Baba. And listen to this Bhakti Ashram channel on YouTube. So many Mahatmas he is talking about who have never studied any scriptures. But they know everything. Just because they know everything doesn't mean. We also are trying to know everything. We are trying to know. No, be the Adhyatma, be the self. Well, not be the Adhyatma. Adhyatma is in coexisting with Adi Daiva and Adi Bhautik. Be the Atma, not Adhyatma. Be the Atma. Be the self. So here he says the controversy whether the self is distinguished from the body. Is the self separate from the body? But I am still feeling I am in the body. Then how can I separate from the body? Oh, but you explained about Paramatma, Ishvara, Prakriti, Hiranyagarbha, Mahattattva, Virat Purush, and example. What was the sequence? What came before? Hiranyagarbha came before, or the Kal came before, or the Ishvara came before? Get out of it. It is only told so that we get so thoroughly confused that our mind stops thinking. Because where we stop thinking, where the mind stops thinking, there the truth is. See, as simple as that. Where the mind stops thinking, there the truth is available in plenty. Because that's me, that's the self. Not how I imagine. Imagination is through thoughts. If mind is silent with no thoughts, then the moon will shine fully. The reflection will be fully. There is nothing to corrupt it. We try to see ourselves through the thoughts. See? Though meaningless, inasmuch as it is capable of being set at rest by self-realization, it does not cease in the case of men whose mind is turned away from me, their real self. So, there are two ways, as I have told you before. One way is through study of Vedanta. But here too many things. I can't understand Prakriti, Maya, Ishvara, etc., etc. Think of the Lord. Think of the Lord, simple as that. He will take you there. As I told you, if you listen to this Bhakti Ashram, so many Mahatmas only chanted the name of the Lord and everything was revealed to them. And what is that? When I say everything, everything means the self was revealed to them. Because Bhagwan and self are not separate. Bhagwan himself says that I am the one in your heart. See? So, let us all, in anticipation of Guru Purnima tomorrow, stop living as one identified with the world, with the body, with the partners, with the children. Instead, while playing those roles, let's, for 1 second, set a reminder for yourself somehow that we fall back into our original position, that I am in spite of all this that is going on. That will be the true devotion to God. See? Because He Himself is expressing in our heart as the life. And we think, this is a waking life, now I'll be having dream life, and after that I'll be having an ignorant life. which is sleep. Actually speaking, waking dream and deep sleep is all ignorant. Life only. Get out of it. Otherwise, Hanuman ji is coming with his gada. अच्छा बेटा सुनता नहीं है आता हूँ अभी. Again, Uddhav ji will ask a question which we will address it in our next class. Who will sing? Oh, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.